We'll start on the questions. So I'm going to start with Martin and give Arlene a little bit of a breather space there. Okay, so Martin, my child loves doing his homework, achieving and being successful in school. I don't want this to change. What rights do I have as a parent to ensure that homework continues to be given to my child by his teacher?
Okay, yeah, well, great is my initial response. Delighted for you and your child. Really thrilled. It seems like homework is working for you. And my wish is that homework works for everybody. So you have every right, and the parents, as we learned from David Ruddy's text earlier, parents are really in charge of homework, legally. Now, I'll stress again, just to clarify, his background is law, okay? And he teaches teachers about law, about the education law, etc. So I think it's very clear what he's saying. Parents are in charge of setting the agenda on this. So please act up if it's not working for you. But if it is working for you, great. But if it's not working for you and not working for your child, then change it. Go talk to the teacher, get onto the Parents Association if you're not already, and then act so that it works for everybody.
Thank you. Arlene, how can schools help inculcate a positive attitude towards maths and science in Ireland, considering a lot of students are lagging in these two?
Wow, if I knew the answer to that one, I guess. For me, it's not about people. When you say science or when you say maths, they immediately put up that wall. And there's more people that will put up the wall than will actually open it, break it down. So I think changing science and the outlook of what science is very important. So the mindset, and it comes from the home originally, where it is about curiosity. It is about exploration of the world around you. And when science and maths shifts from a body of knowledge in a book to something that's evolving and in my home and in my car, it's everywhere, it can come to life and it can allow people to engage in it, because if it's everywhere, they will find a way into it. They will, whatever they're personally interested in, if it's their mobile phone, if it's even if they want to be a better footballer. Let's just say, for example, how can science and maths, breaking the practice of a projectile down into getting that beautiful corner, left top corner, every time they strike the goal, it can be broken down to science and maths. And really just taking that initial wall of you need to stay out because you have to be brilliant and you have to know lots of things, taking that down and just opening it up into curiosity, and the world around you, I think, is much, much more inviting and welcoming.
Okay, thank you very much. Martin, homework in our house is a constant battle and nearly always ends in tears. My children are 8 and 11 years and don't have special education needs. What can I do?
Okay, well, I just saw a quote that I prepared. I looked at various quotes before I came, but this relates to the last question as well. Parents, from the UN Declaration of Human Rights, Article 26.3, okay? It's very short. Parents have a prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. Okay, it just backs up the last thing as well. It's really parents. Can you repeat the question, sorry? Oh.
I think I can. Yeah, homework in our house is a constant battle and nearly always ends in tears. My children are 8 and 11 years and don't have special education needs. What can I do?
Okay, well, I hope I've hopefully covered some of that in what I've said already, so I won't repeat everything. But basically, please feel empowered to go to the teacher and to say, sorry, this homework isn't suitable for my child, it's not working for my child. Everything that I've heard in newspapers, from teachers, from parents, from everything, is that once a teacher hears that, they'll say, oh, okay, it's not working, let's change it. But unless they hear it, they won't change it. So I think most teachers are open to differentiating. Just go to the teacher and find out.
Do you just want to explain what differentiating is?
Sorry.
Because it's a word that's come up a bit today and maybe not everybody.
Having different things for different people, so that there's different homework content or different homework levels, or different ways of doing the homework, or different ways of presenting the homework. That's what differentiating means.
Okay, thank you. Arlene, do you see nature as a source of science material? I do not have a lot of money for expensive books for my child.
Absolutely. As I think the world around you can fold into nature. Absolutely does. I think, having just wonder and curiosity, whatever the discipline whatever the topic, that can relate to your child's interest, they're wonderful opportunities to build those sense of autonomy, the criticality, the just appetite and interest for learning. So whatever the topic, please don't feel that you need to understand artificial intelligence to go home and excite your child about science. It is about the leaf, picking up a leaf and saying, I wonder what tree this comes from. Let's draw the leaf and let's see, can we find another leaf like it online, or just that kind of curiosity, problem solving, learning, just embracing that at all opportunities in every learnable moment, in every opportunity that links into the child's question or interests. So whatever, science is very broad and it can be totally embraced in many different ways.
And it was interesting, I met with Arlene this week just to talk about today, and one of the things that kind of came up in our discussions, which were very wide-ranging, was some of the slides Arlene showed there, where there was children looking in a pond and looking at leaves and things like that. I said they were exactly the same slides we use in our well-being talks. And there just became a connection maybe between what we're trying to develop in young scientists of primary school age in terms of curiosity, connecting, noticing the world around you and how it works. And they're all the same messages we give in well-being. So it's kind of interesting to see that actually science may be way beyond just the educational applications that we constantly see, but actually they may be a way of being well as well, making those connections and noticing the world. And I think sometimes the concerns that we hear from parents is that children are very engaged with their technology and very insular, and that maybe some of the science subjects could actually be a way out of that in a way, because it is encouraging all of this curiosity and finding out, and a lot of the science subjects would include teamwork as well, which we know making human connections is really important for well-being. So there could be benefits, and we said we're going to continue that conversation because there could be benefits that come out of some of the science subjects that are about emotional well-being as well, so it's interesting, the connection.
I briefly followed up on you.
Oh,
actually, I read your wonderful NPC document, but also Maslow's hierarchy of needs as humans. We have needs for purpose and curiosity, and when they can be met by tapping into things we're interested in and asking questions about things we're interested in, that actually is a really powerful, enriching well-being practice. So we've a wonderful synergy on the horizon.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, back to yourself, Martin. I believe that my child in 4th class needs the practice of homework to fully understand and become confident and competent in their schoolwork, especially maths. Am I wrong?
Well, everyone needs to practice, okay, till we get something right. And I like the phrase, practice not till it's perfect, but till you can't get it wrong, regards sports and penalty kicks and whatever else. So, yeah, practice is important. Practicing the right thing and making sure that the child, we talked about it earlier, making sure that you don't practice an error and then that becomes ingrained. So, no, you're not wrong. Children do need practice. If it can take place in school, great. If some children need more practice, great. That it's identified and that they're working on it.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, thanks. Arlene, this is a question that links both of your talks, actually, so you may both have ideas about it. Can you suggest any homework ideas that I could bring to my school with around science? Nothing like being on the spot.
No. Wow. Homework ideas. I mean, I really liked the concept of, the book, but also choosing which book. I think that was a really, really powerful. The school in Florida are doing this. I think having opportunities, like it's come up again, but trusting the young people to find a topic that they're interested in and do a body of work on it, to communicate to their peers back in their classroom, or to perhaps be part of a team, 2 or 3 young people who actually work on a topic that is a similar interest to them, not necessarily the teacher's expertise, but something that as a group of young people they're curious and interested in, and they will bring it back to their classroom. So I love the idea of tapping into the young person's interest and making homework out of that.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Martin, in terms of the homework piece?
And science?
Yes.
Linking homework and
Yeah,
science? Yeah,
yeah.
no, I'd agree with, let the child explore, let them set the question, and then go and see what they can discover. I think every teacher would.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, thanks very much. And then to your actual question. My child has dyslexia. How do you think I should approach homework with them?
Oh, that's a tough one. And I won't claim to be an expert in dyslexia. I know that DCU St. Pat's have set up a master's just in dyslexia. It's so complex. Talk with the child's teacher, find out exactly what the child's strengths are with the reading and their needs, and work on their needs. But I do know this little bit about dyslexia, and that is that vast majority of people with dyslexia, and there's 1 in 10 of us have dyslexia, have greater visual abilities. So they are stronger by nature in lots of ways that others aren't. And so it maybe we always stress working on the strengths. I'm useless at music, okay? It was always embarrassing to me as a class teacher to try to teach music. I don't do it, I can't do it, I'm useless. Everyone is different, so you play to your strengths, and so maybe play to the child's strengths as well as their needs.
Okay, thank you. Arlene, my child is in 3rd class and they don't learn any science. What can I do as a parent?
I don't think they're alone. But I would also stress that how we are, I guess, siloing what science is into a box is probably too limiting. We actually need to see science as a much, much more about the world around us and asking questions and trying to find answers about the world around us. So if that can be embraced more with the young person, whether it be at home or just whatever they're interested in. I know I keep going back, but it does really need to come from interest. You cannot force anybody to learn anything. So really probing questions and about the world around you, and looking for teachable moments where the young person will ask a question about something in the world around them. There are the opportunities to try to integrate some good science, if you wish, science in a sense that you can encourage them to go online, perhaps go online with them. I'm not proposing you know the answer. I think it would be really encouraging for the young person to hear, I haven't a clue. That's a really cool question. Why don't we try to explore that together? Or I look forward for you to come back to me with the answer. They're very, very powerful messages. So just tapping into the young person's curiosity in whatever it is they're interested in, and encouraging that they keep looking into it. And hopefully it's related to the world around them, but they will find science in that.
Okay, thank you. Martin, this is an interesting question. Not that the others weren't, but this one interests me. What is your opinion of learning spellings and tables by heart? I'm not the only one interested in the answer to that.
All right, well, I'll be a little controversial then, maybe. There's a book called Spellbound. Okay, maybe some of you know it, for primary school children. There's a guy called Brendan Culligan. He's an expert in teaching English. He's regarded as an expert. I agree with him completely when he says it's a complete waste of time, because all children are doing is just copying. They see the word and they copy. It's busy time, it keeps them busy. Children actually like it, which is a downfall of it, because they actually request it, okay? Because there's crosswords and stuff. But really, they're just looking at these 16 words each week, and they're just copying it. Learning them off by heart, yeah, but learn off the words that you need. So, again, his idea is each child has a personal spelling notebook, which they create, and they will add their own spellings that they need. Again, trusting the child, trusting the learner to select words. You might have 1 or 2 children who select, the, so on, but you'll soon see them and you'll say, come on, Martin, hurry, come on, that's not acceptable. And they'll get it, and they might move on. So yes, learning, you need to learn them. And there is the look, say, cover, write, check, which every parent probably knows as well, method of learning. Look, say, cover, write, check. It works. So, yeah, you need to learn, but the set 4 spellings a day, it doesn't work for me.
Okay, thank you.
Anya, can I jump in on that?
Yeah, of course you
I
can.
just have a funny story. Well, not too long. So my husband and all the in-laws, we play games about the times tables. We have competitions. Who can at Christmas time, let's say we're all sitting down. My husband is the absolute best. He just has this phenomenal ability to recall 13 times 12. Nobody in the room. So I mean, they're fun, but they're low wins. They're not higher order thinking. I mean, we all. I mean, I loved learning the tables. I'm not a great speller, but I used to love learning them. You know, I'm not saying the learning process is linear, but it is about getting them onto a path to the higher order thinking. But you do need the low wins as well to kind of validate the child that you're doing good, keep learning, and then you can move from recall into, I'm forgetting Bloom's taxonomy. What's after recall? I can't recall. Anybody in the room? Next step up is it understanding? Yeah. I think when you regurgitate, then you go into understanding. So there are, I mean, yes, whatever the word, onomatopoeia. That should trigger, what does that mean? Actually, I need to go understand what it means. So there are places for recall. It is an entry into learning. So I mean, we have great fun with the tables at Christmas. So, you know, I mean, I use my calculator for everything now. No computational recall ability at the moment, the last few years. But, you know, I think I enjoyed it as a learner, for sure.
I think this is an example of differentiation. We play pie face at Christmas. It still involves maths, but there you go. Okay. Arlene, are there science clubs which are fun for primary school children in the community?
There are. I think Coder Dojo is a wonderful movement. For those of you who don't know it, it's a coding club, a space where young people will partner with computer scientists typically, and they will use Scratch. But also Scratch is available online. There's wonderful resources online, particularly Code Academy. I like Khan Academy, Code.org. I mean, these are just great resources online. But I do stress the social constructivism, the Vygotskian idea of bringing the group together. They learn together in groups. So Coder Dojo is wonderful. I think there's a primary science fair at the Young Scientist, the BT Young Scientist, driven through the school typically. Other primary school science. Junior Einsteins, yes, absolutely. Anyone for science? Yes, brilliant. Lego clubs. You're your own best friends, and this is a wonderful community. So maybe there's an opportunity to create a blog on resources and spaces for young people. But yeah, I finding.
And also you're interested in getting more involved in the primary space, aren't you, Arlene?
We are indeed, but we're not quite there yet, Anya. It's taken me a while to get the university to commit resources to the second level system. If I try get the primary as well, they might boot me out.
Okay. Just going to one last question for both speakers, and then we'll let them off the hook. So Martin, your last question. In most schools, Fridays are no homework days. So why so much negativity for homework?
So why?
Why so much negativity for homework? Is it seen as a treat not to have homework?
Yeah, I don't know. But my guess is it's to do with the stress and the resentment and stuff that I don't mean that as a joke. I guess that is the answer. Yeah, children hate homework. I mean, really, really hate homework. The idea, the word of it. They look forward to Fridays. They look forward to being class of the month because they get a reward of no homework that day. And it's really hard to wean them off. I can't, wean them off that idea. Oh, we shouldn't really be doing, no homework, as a prize. Children love it. They love it. We got to reform homework if we're going to have it. And I agree completely with what you've said in the Irish Times about changing it maybe to home learning. And what I think Joan Kiley said earlier this morning about just that word is so negative. We've got to maybe look at scrapping it. And just one more thing about the spellings, if I can. One more thing. The spellings test idea is just painfully wrong. If your teachers are doing it, please try and convince them of it. Here's 1 minute, here's 2 seconds on it. It just means that children see failure. They never see, oh, I've got it all, apart from the kid who gets 20 out of 20. They just see failure, and they get, again, the message, I'm useless, or I'm not as good as him, or I'm not as good as her. It should never happen, and that's Brendan Culligan's, but I agree with that completely. And you talked about a blog, since this is my last thing. Maybe if somebody is creating a blog after all this, maybe a blog for menu of ideas. Maybe that might be the best way for the various parents' associations. Just add ideas. I don't know, we'll see what happens. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Arlene, your last one. I'm interested in setting up a science module in our school or an after-school club. Any advice on how I can go about this?
Well, don't do it alone. Try find some friends or parents who'll support you. I think really trusting the young people to actually co-design it with you. That could be a real flip. That could really, you will get buy-in from the young people from the very beginning if they can co-design their own STEM club with you. I think the co-creation is very, very powerful.
Okay. I'd just like to thank both of our afternoon speakers, both for their inputs and also their questions and answers.